Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. And tonight we're going to answer the question, can this young and exciting 2023 USA team men's roster win gold in the FIBA World Cup this tournament? We're going to talk about that and more here on NBA Sports Talk. So do me a favor, grab a pen, grab a pad. It's time to go to work. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. I'm your host here on NBA Sports Talk. If you're new here, we talk NBA basketball and more, not from the player, former or current perspective, not from the radio or TV personalities perspective, but we talk NBA sports, basketball, and more from a fan's perspective. So we want to welcome you to the episode of this night. This evening, we are going to be getting into the question, can Team USA 2023 men's roster, a young and exciting team, go all the way to win gold? And so if you're just joining us in the chat of YouTube, let us know where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live in the chat. And if you're watching the replay of this episode podcast, give us a hashtag Team Replay in the comment section. So without further ado, let's go ahead and fire up the stream deck and get into the content of tonight's episode. Team USA men's roster FIBA World Cup 2023. A new and young and exciting team, a team that doesn't have a whole lot of experience in the FIBA World Cup competition internationally. Can they go all the way and win gold? That's what we want to get into. Just a game highlight just yesterday. They opened up their competition and they beat the Netherlands in the opening competition, which gave them a handful in the first half, where they had to come back being down about maybe 12 to 14 points. But the second half, they were able to take control and being able to close it out in the second half in a dominant fashion. And so a lot of the naysayers are saying, can this inexperienced team go all the way and win gold? What say you in the live chat? Let us know where you're watching us from. Just like my man James Push, Milwaukee Bucks finest fan of all, in the chat this evening. Hashtag Team Live, chilling all the way in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go. I'm here with you, sir. And if anyone else, if you're just joining us, let us know where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live in the chat and where you're repping from. All right, let's get into the content. All right, so my first point, which we kind of talked in the opening, this is a young team that Team USA has. It's interesting. The executive of Team USA, which is Grant Hill, and the masterminds, along with Coach Steve Kerr, who's been an assistant on some of the past Team USA teams, but this is his first go round in being a coach now on Team USA. It's interesting that they were very strategic in putting together a very young roster, that has very little experience in international competition. Though they're young, though they're new, myself personally, I think they're very exciting. You got a lot of up and coming talent from the NBA that's on this roster, which we'll get into shortly. But the thing is, we're seeing it in the NBA throughout the league. The league is getting younger. It's getting younger now with younger players being on the team. Yes, we have our superstars like Giannis, We have our superstars like LeBron, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, the Slim Reaper, Kyrie Irving, who's box office, but but you can clearly see the track that the NBA is moving towards. It's moving towards younger players. It's interesting when they made their announcement of the in-season tournament for this coming 2023-2024 season. Who did they have promoting it? They had a lot of young players like Cade Cunningham, the gentleman who's a young rookie from Orlando who's also on this roster. So you clearly can see the move, and it should not be a surprise that Team USA is made up some of that young core. So it's exciting to see that Team USA is getting younger. Yes, we've had the days of Jason Kidd. We've had the days of Carmelo Anthony and LeBron James, and we've had that period of time. But clearly you can see there is a new wave of talent now representing the USA. And then some of the naysayers were saying, well, they're so young. It's a new roster. They have no experience. Where are the superstars? Why aren't the superstars not coming forth to represent their country? Giannis wanted to represent his country, but because of injuries, he felt it was wise to go ahead and to skip the FIBA World Cup. Why isn't the rest of it? Well, my thought on that is, hey, look, yes, it's an honor to be able to represent your country, but when you are a much older player and you have your focus more on other things, it's okay to say, hey, look, I want to decline. That's a person's free right and choice to say, I want to decline and not be a part of FIBA World Cup competition. What I don't want to see when it comes to the Olympics is now see these same players like Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, if he's still playing it in men's plus over 20 years. What I don't want to see is a Kevin Durant or Chris Middleton or Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown now say, okay, now we're in the Olympics. Now we want to play. No, if you wasn't committed for the FIBA World Cup, to go ahead and put and build this from the ground up with new and fresh talent, don't try to jump on the train when the train has already left the station. That I don't want to see. That I don't want to hear. That's a narrative that I don't want even to entertain. Either you are in the station when the train pulls out, we ain't trying to stop in a midway stop to pick you up. Now, as long as it ain't that type of agreement, it ain't that type of bag of chips and Pepsi Cola that you're trying to sell me as an NBA fan on domestic and international competition, we cool. We cool. I can respect your decision not to want to compete. Now, that's just my soapbox. Forgive me, NBA fans, community. That's just my soapbox. But I'm excited about this new and young team that Team USA has. That's what they have. All right, let's continue. It's no secret this new and exciting young team has no experience internationally. We're dealing with a lot of first timers, yes, and there's been some talk about who's going to be the go-to guy, based on some of the practice squad games and exhibitions that we've seen. And it seems to be the front runner here is Ant-Man. Anthony Edwards is going to be the go-to guy initially who Team USA is going to be going to look to go to. However, you still got individuals like Tyrese Halliburton. You still got my man Jalen Brunson from the New York Knicks. You got Austin Reeves. You got Brandon Ingram. Let me tell you something. I love Brandon Ingram's game. And so you have a lot of good young core talent there that people can develop and ultimately go ahead and help Team USA make a run in this tournament. So we want to see despite the inexperience, what this young, exciting new roster is going to produce us. All right, let's just jump back over to the chat and see who else is joining us. We have our dear sister, Florence Donald. Um, yes, Washington Wizards, #1 fan in the house this evening from Equip Institute. Good evening, my sister. We're talking about, can this new, young, and exciting roster for Team USA go all the way and win gold? Let's see what they can do. See, James here has a comment section here. Oh, yes, FIBA allows more physical play. I don't know if our guards can handle um, for the long haul. That is a great point. That is a great point because as we start to get more into the tournament, as we start to advance more, we're going to see the stiffer and tougher competition. This is true. This is true. If you're just joining us, we're talking about 5 points on, can Team USA, this young and exciting roster, go all the way and win gold? So if you're just joining me, let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. Give us a thumbs up by clicking the like button and share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you are just joining us on the replay, we thank you and appreciate you watching the replay, and give us a hashtag team replay. But James brings up a great point. As we get into the tournament, our guards are going to be tested. Austin Reeves is going to be tested. Alex Caruso, remember that name, Laker fans, who's now with the Chicago Bulls, and Austin Reeves. They're going to be tested. Yes, yes. But I believe they're up for the I believe they're up for the challenge. They're up for the challenge. Everyone keeps talking about, Luka. But you know what? Luka needs to pay attention to Tyrese Halliburton. Luka needs to pay attention to Jaylen Brown and Austin Reeves and Alex Caruso. Yes, we're playing in his backyard, but he's playing some guards that he plays 82 games during the regular season, so they know about some Luka. Hey, let me know in the chat where you're watching us from. We're talking about, can Team USA, this young and exciting team, go all the way and win gold? That's what's our conversation. So we'd love to acknowledge you in the chat if you're joining us here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. All right, projected starters. Team USA has some projected starters of Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies, who won Defensive Player of the Year. I thought this was a great selection by the Team USA committee, and bringing in one like a Jaren Jackson, who's going to be able to anchor the defense. Then you add Brandon Ingram, who has that length and wingspan, and he has handle, and he can put the ball on the court, and he can get you a bucket and score, who has a good mid-range game. You have Mikal Bridges, who came from the Phoenix Suns over to the Brooklyn Nets and had an excellent second half. You have Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson. Hey, I love this young and exciting team. I don't know about you. Yes, we're missing LeBron. Okay, cool. I understand. LeBron had his time being in the Olympics. Yes, you don't have Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant helped Team USA in the Tokyo Olympics win gold. Yes, this is true. He did. But I think this is a new opportunity for a new crop of talent to be able to show us what they got. And see, I'm a person who's, as an NBA fan, I love NBA basketball and I love international competition. But I'm trying my best not to buy into this narrative that, sports media is trying to sell me and you, that because we don't have no superstars, we don't have a chance against France. We don't have a chance against Spain or Argentina. I'm not buying into this narrative. Guess what? They got some young talent and some NBA players on there. That's some first timers too. Yeah, it's international competition. But hey, I like our chances. I like Team USA's chances in being able to do it. And so seeing what Jalen Brunson did last year with the New York Knicks, seeing what Ant-Man has been doing with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Mikal Bridges coming alive in the second half, I like Team USA's chances. Yeah, they got tested in their first game with New Zealand. They got tested. Yes. Okay, it's true. But you know what? It's good they got punched in the mouth in the first half of that game. It's good they got punched in the mouth. And it's good that Steve Kerr is going to be tested as a first-time head coach. All that coaching experience that Popovich has taught you, and you being an assistant. But I also like the fact they got Eric Spoelstra on the bench, and who's the other assistant coach that's on the bench, and Tyrone Lue. So you got some championship coaches, um, all three. I don't know if they got a fourth coach on there, but you got three. Most typically with most teams, they have like maybe the head coach, the lead assistant, and two other assistants. But you got three NBA championship playoff contending coaches leading Team USA. I like our chances. I really do. Let me jump back over here to the chat. See what Florence and James says. And if you're just joining me here on NBA Sports Talk, we're talking about this new and exciting young team, Team USA and FIBA World Cup. Can they go all the way and win gold? Let us know in the chat where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live. James says, I also don't know they really need more size. This is true. They need more size up front for the experience that the FIBA teams will be throwing at them. But we got to see. Definitely, there's a lot of questions. There is a lot of questions. The tougher competition with the guards. Yes, we have to acknowledge that. We have to acknowledge that. We have to. But at the same time, we have to acknowledge what we got to work with. And the simple fact that this young team is willing to gel together and build some chemistry together and to build a a a a a long-term sustained type of culture where you could easily see the same roster come back for the Olympics and other FIBA World Cup. They went young enough. As long as these players stay healthy and they stay in the league, we have something here. We have a nice young core of talent here that we can definitely work with. Let's continue on. So we talked about the projected starters. Then you got the bench. And we mentioned some of the players like Tyrese Halliburton, Austin Reeves, Alex Caruso, Cameron Johnson, and Bobby Portis Jr., who is the senior statesman, the elder of the team, out of this young core, who is also a championship winner. So if you go back to your starters, yes, none of these players have made all NBA team, whether 1, 2, or 3, I believe. None of these individuals have. None of these individuals have any championship experience, yes, but I think this is where Bobby Portis Jr. comes into play. You have Alex Caruso, who's played with the Lakers, who's won a championship. And so you have some championship players on here. We have some here. We just got to form and build this team. And Bobby Portis Jr., he brings that toughness, but James does bring up a great point. We have to get some size. Cameron Johnson, you have him, but we need to get some size. It's true. We need to get some size. And so it'll be interesting when it comes towards the Olympics, if we can be able to tweak this roster and get bigger and get some size for the Olympic international game. But we got a core here. We got a foundation here, a young team that's young. It's exciting. And I think they can definitely make a move to be able to win gold. Now, am I convinced that they're going to win gold? a lot of questions. But hey, this is anybody's tournament. This is anybody's tournament here, and so we got a great fill of starters. We got a bench, but and I'm trying to see, and I don't think I put it on here. Let me just jump back. Like we talked about the starters, we talked about inexperience. Okay, so I didn't add that. I want you to stay with me. Those of you who are watching us in the chat, who are watching us, I want you to stay with me to the end. I got a bonus point. I got to bring up a bonus point about Team USA. So stay with me. Stay with me to the end. Make sure you click that thumbs up button. Share this on your favorite social media platform. If you are new to NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, we here talk about NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective. And so if that's something that you are excited about experiencing when we go live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m., I want to encourage you to subscribe to the channel and be a part of the NBA Sports Talk community. Want to welcome to a first-timer part of NBA Sports Talk, Dr. Sebastian Longstaff. Good evening, Dr. Sebastian. I appreciate you gracing us with your presence. Definitely let us know where you're from. Give us a hashtag Team Live. Let us know your favorite NBA basketball team or player so we can definitely show you some love. Definitely. All right. And so let's continue on. Give me 1 second. Boom. All right. So we've talked about this young roster. We talked about the inexperience. We talked about the starters. We talked about the bench. Let's talk a little about the competition. And James has been really making some serious points where we have some areas when it comes to the international play against the guards and not having any size. Because if this young and exciting team can be able to move through the tournament and get into that Final Four, they're going to be being up against teams like Australia. They're going to be up against teams like France. They're going to be up against teams like Spain. They're going to be up against teams like Canada, just to name a few. So there's some competition out there, and I didn't mention Luka's team, so forgive me. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. No disrespect to Luka, Luka over in Dallas, but there's going to be some competition for the USA. It is. It was some talk about Team Canada if Jamal Murray was going to be able to play, the type of impact he was going to have. But having that long run with Denver, it didn't sound like he was going to be able to make it. But there's competition there in this tournament, and that's good. That's good. Team USA, this young and exciting men's roster, definitely needs to be tested. Their metal needs to be tested to see what they have as a young roster. And if they can't win gold, hey, that's okay too. But I still have my predictions. I have my predictions on where they want to go, where they're going to go. So before I get into my predictions, let me give you this bonus point since you've been staying with me up to this point here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. My bonus point is, hey, we got a new coach, a new head coach. And we're talking about a coach along with a coaching staff of Spoelstra and Tyrone Lue. Between them, Lue has 1 title, Spoelstra has 3, Kerr has 4. So you have about 8 championships won between, at least if there's 4 coaches out of that 4. And again, the 4th one escapes my mind. Out of the 3 of the 4, there's 8 championships won between each 3. And so though Kerr doesn't have any experience as a head coach internationally, he has been an assistant. He's been with Popovich. He knows Popovich's systems. He's sort of familiar with the international game. And so I like our chances. I really do. Despite the narrative that people are trying to spin about Team USA, saying that They're so young, they're inexperienced. We don't have our superstars. I beg to differ against all of that. I will push against all of that. Yes, Germany is another team of competition. Yes, with Dennis Schroeder, but I like Team USA's chances. And so I'm definitely going to be paying attention to the NBA FIBA World Competition. Dr. Sebastian says he's from Lewiston, Maine. Oh, okay. We have a New York Knicks in the house. And oh, my man, he said his favorite player is the legend, the dream, Hakeem Olajuwon. Oh, yes. You know what? Everybody's a fan. So I know you were conflicted, my man, Dr. Sebastian, when the Knicks played the dream. I'm quite sure you were conflicted. You wanted to see Ewing bring it home. But at the same time, Dream was special. Dream was special. And so, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, Dr. Sebastian. And so when I moved up here, it was during the time when the Knicks were making their deep playoff run, and they made it to the NBA Finals. I think they was it the Rockets or the Spurs that they lost to. I forget what year that the finals that they lost to the Rockets, but I'm quite sure you were conflicted in watching Hakeem and the Knicks go head to head with one another. But I'm glad to see, you know, definitely we got a Houston Rockets fan, so definitely we want you to stay tuned. And the next Thursday at 8 p.m. Go ahead and give a plug. We're going to get into the top 10 big men of all time in the NBA. So we'll definitely get into that. But we do have an episode of top defensive players of all time. And so Dream is definitely on that list. So you definitely want to check that out. Hey, if you're just joining us, we are talking about Team USA 2023 men's roster, young and exciting team. Can they win gold in the FIBA World Cup? Let us know where you're watching us from. Give us a hashtag Team Live, and let us know your favorite team or player in the chat. All right, so where are we at? Let's go there. Definitely, we did that. We covered FIBA World Competition, and so predictions. How far can Team USA go? With all the competition of France and Argentina, Spain, Germany, Canada, how far can Team USA go? James, definitely again in Florence, they brought up some great points about the guards, our big man. Realistically, not thinking, with my heart, realistically, um, Team USA should make it to the finals in the FIBA World Cup, the semifinals. I'm sorry, the semifinals. They should be making it to the semifinals for the FIBA World Cup this tournament. They finished, I believe, 9th last time in the FIBA World Cups. They should make it to the semifinals. They should make it into the Final Four. So if they don't win gold and if they don't medal, they should be in the top 4. And from there, with this young and exciting team, when it comes to the Olympics and the next FIBA World Cup, that's when we should make our move for competing for gold, if not this year. Anything is possible. As KG said, anything is possible. My bad impersonation of KG. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. But if they don't, they kind of make it to the semifinals. I would really love to know, James, Dr. Sebastian, Florence, those of you who are watching here on NBA Sports Talk in the live chat, those who are just listening, let me know where you think Team USA is going to finish. Where do you think they're going to finish? Is it the semifinals? Are they going to make it to? Are they going to make it to the medal round? Let me know in the chat while we pull up this chat here. I'm going to go ahead and take this down and get into some comments for the next few minutes here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. James says, there's also the Gonzaga coach, Mark Fewman, who was on the bench, couldn't see Okay, so he is that fourth coach. I knew there was a fourth coach, but I just didn't know who he was. Thanks, James, for definitely adding value here on NBA Sports Talk. Mark Fuman, definitely, and I think he's been in a long-standing assistant through the international competition on Team USA. So he's been around. So definitely good to see that we have him. But let me know in the chat, where do you think Team USA is going to finish? Do you think they're going to medal? If they don't win gold, do they have the possibility of winning silver? Do they have the possibility of winning bronze, or just making it into the final four? Or you don't think they're going? Let me know in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, in the comments section, where do you think Team USA is going to finish? So as we're waiting for that, uh, definitely do me a favor, if you've been watching us up to this point, give us a thumbs up. Click that thumbs up button on YouTube. That lets YouTube know that this is some content that you approve of and enjoy. In this episode here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong the third here on YouTube. So definitely let us know. Okay, perfect. As we're waiting for some other comments and thoughts, I want to touch on this James Harden thing right quick. Touch on this James Harden thing. Of course, if you have not heard, James Harden has basically called the general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers a liar, saying he's not willing to be or report to the Philadelphia 76ers. The NBA did an investigation trying to see if the Sixers are guilty of any possible tampering. There was trying to see, was there some type of secret agreement that Daryl Morey promised to James Harden and getting him to, take $15 million less so that they could get PJ Tucker on the team last year. So there was some conversation about that. But James Harden basically clarified that he was basically calling Daryl Morey a liar because he had promised him to be traded, and as a result, he couldn't do that. And I think this is just from looking at it from a James Harden's perspective. I think he's using this as a tactic to bully his way out of Philadelphia. And I think he's doing this for two reasons. Number one, he was successful to doing it to Daryl Morey in Houston. That's one. He was successful in doing it in Houston. Then number two, he was able to see what Ben Simmons did to Philly last year with Daryl Morey being there. And so I think this is a tactic Harden is doing, trying to push his way out of Philly so that he can get traded. The question now becomes, will he make it to the destination he wants to go to? Which it's my understanding he wants to go to the LA Clippers. I think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to get his wish to get out before the NBA trading deadline. I don't think it's going to be to the destination he wants to go to. He's going to get traded, but it's not going to be to the Clippers. And he's going to end up being a rental to someone else, a contending team to someone else who's going to be willing to take their chances on him and ultimately see if they're willing to go long term. I don't think he's going to make it to the Clippers through this trade. If he does go to the Clippers, it's going to be off season. I think that's where this is headed to. But I also think from the Sixers standpoint, they're not budging. If the Clippers is not going to give them what they're looking for, which I think is a little unrealistic when you look at James Harden as the player now in his late 30s, I don't think the Clippers are going to give up what the Sixers want. But I do believe the Sixers are going to move him. And so I think that's where this is headed at with the James Harden. I see Jackson Frank in the chat. Good evening, sir. Glad to have you here on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. Here, James says, okay, we covered that chat there. Perfect, perfect. And so I think he's going to get traded before the trade deadline, but it's not going to be to the Clippers. And with the Damian Lillard, things have kind of quieted down. Is there the possibility that Damian Lillard will get traded out of Portland? It's possible. Anything is possible. However, I could see Damian Lillard finishing a final year in Portland. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up coming back for one more year. But after that one more year, I think all bets are off. He's definitely going to end up being moved to possibly the destination he wants to go, which is going to be the Miami Heat. But I wouldn't be surprised. And so things are quiet in Portland. Certainly it's a little noisy right now in Philadelphia with James Harden. Things are a little noisy. So we will see. And so that's the content. That's the episode for this evening, as we've covered, just some topics and some thoughts on Team USA in the FIBA World Cup Men's 2023 tournament. This young and exciting team, the possibilities of them going all the way and win gold, and looking at some of the things what could keep them from not winning gold. And so, hey, I would really love to get your thoughts on where you think Team USA is going to be. I want to make sure if I didn't miss any comments on asking that. Dr. Sebastian, cool. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Just going through the chat. Okay, cool. Okay, boom, we covered that one. Florence here. Let's see what Florence has. They have a former FIBA players. They have former FIBA players like Tyrese. Yes, there's something to pull from. Definitely. There is. They have a young nucleus, a foundation that they can build from, and I like it. I like it. Just kind of going through the comments to make sure I didn't miss anyone's comments that definitely have relevance. I think we covered that. Cool. Everyone's just enjoying communicating. Perfect. Hey, look, this has been a great episode. I see we are definitely excited about Team USA's chances in the FIBA World Cup. And so this is a young and exciting team that I think is really going to make some noise. Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton, Anthony Edwards, the Ant-Man in the tournament. And I really like Brandon Ingram. I really like his game, his wingspan, his ability to put the ball on the court. And then you got Jaren Jackson, Cameron Johnson. There's a lot here that Team USA has to work with. And as I said before in my earlier rant, I'm cool with the Kevin Durant's, the Kyrie Irvings, the Steph Currys, the Klay Thompsons declining. I'm cool with it. I really am. I'm really cool with them declining and saying, no, I don't want to be part of FIBA World Cup competition because of recovering from injuries, playing in a long playoffs extent. I'm cool with that. What I don't want to see when it comes time for the Olympic competition part, what I don't want to see is people jumping on the train while the train is in motion midway. That I don't want to see. That I really don't. Even if they say they were already a part of the Team USA roster pool. No, you want to build a team that's going to be consistent, and you want to be able to give these players an opportunity to be able to make some noise in this competition. And even if they and that's fine, even if they don't medal, but make it to the semifinals as one of the final four teams. And some may say, well, what happens if they don't make it to the semifinals and they instead of ninth, they go sixth or seventh. Build on what we have. Build on what we have. And yeah, okay, because there's no star power, doesn't mean that the lack of star power still can't get the job done. Give you and if you are a boxing fan, any boxing fans in the chat, let me know if you are a boxing fan. You know, there was this talk about Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield going to end up having this head-on collision. And that they ultimately were going to go head to head, and we were going to see who was going to be the top heavyweight. Was it going to be Evander or was it going to be Tyson? They want to head on, but there was a name that people didn't even really pay attention to that didn't really have a lot of star power. You know what that name was? James Buster Douglas. Go YouTube it. Go YouTube it. James Buster Douglas put a hurting on Mike Tyson. And as a result, that when you finally got to the Holyfield and Tyson dream match, it wasn't all of that because the star power was really James Buster Douglas. And so I think Team USA can be a James Buster Douglas to some France players. They can be the James Buster Douglas to the Argentinians. They can be the James Buster Douglas to the Mike Tyson of Spain. Just saying. You know, I'm just using an analogy. So, hey, we've covered a lot of content this evening. I want to thank Action Jackson Frank being on this evening. I want to thank Florence. I want to thank James. I want to thank Dr. Sebastian joining us for the first time. And if you have been joining us for the first time, and if you have enjoyed this conversation, this episode of NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III, please do me a favor. Click that like button. Give me a thumbs up if you really found that this content was valuable. Share it on your favorite social media platform. Subscribe to the NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III YouTube channel, where we talk NBA sports and more, NBA basketball and more from a fan's perspective. So I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening on NBA Sports Talk with Walter Strong III. We will see you on Thursday night, 8 p.m. as we get into the top 10 big man centers of all times. Until then, have a good evening.